A typical day in the life of a man or a woman living in the UK involves waking up in the morning, taking their kids to breakfast club, going to work, after work, pick their kids from school, and probably just go grocery shopping and stay home. And then the cycle continues and on and on and on. There is actually barely time for an average person living in the UK to take a break, to rest, or to do fun things. And of course, one of the reasons is financial constraint. It is extremely difficult trying to keep up with the constant hike of goods and services in the UK. Now, this gets me thinking, how happy are we in the UK? As a matter of fact, according to recent reports, we are not as happy as we used to be, and we are not even close to being the happiest we've ever been. And what exactly is the reason? If you're watching me right now and you're living in the UK, I would love you to share in the comment section. Are you happy living in the UK? Do you think you're currently living your best life? Do you think you're currently in your happiest state living in the UK? All these and many more we'll be discussing in today's video.
Not joking, all my guys, them know me.
Hello lovelies, what's up and welcome back again to my channel. My name is Melissa, and if you're new on this channel, please like this video, subscribe, click the notification bell so that whenever I post, you'll be the first to find out. Recently, the UK has been ranked 23rd happiest country in the world, slipping away from 20th last year. What is making people unhappy in the UK? Is the UK still the goal, still the destination of most people looking to travel abroad for greener pastures? Now, let's quickly read this article. The UK has fallen to 23rd place in the global ranking of the world's happiest countries, its lowest position in 9 years. So for the past 9 years, this happens to be the lowest it has ever been. While boasting one of the world's biggest economies and political stability, the UK could only manage 23rd place, slipping from 20th last year. Well, there's no single reason why there is a decline in the state of happiness of people. There are so many reasons that can be accounted to this. Now, number one, of course, economic struggles. It is no news that people are struggling. You might be living in Africa, in Nigeria, or other parts of the world and envying people living in the UK because of the value of pounds, forgetting the fact that we earn in pounds and we spend in pounds. So is there actually a balance in our income and our expenditure? I think that particular question is begging for an answer. The cost of living in the UK is hitting the roof. As a matter of fact, it's over the roof. People can no longer afford basic amenities. I mean, something as basic as food. People are struggling to be able to fend for themselves and their family. It is no joke. If you go to food bank, you will see a long queue of people actually waiting to get food. It is that bad. I've been in the UK for a while, and I can tell you for a fact that things have never ever been this bad. I mean, there was a time I could say, oh, when it comes to food, it's not a problem. Those of you that followed me on this channel for years now can attest to the fact that I always say, like, food is just normal. What's food? Like, food is not a problem. You might struggle with getting a job, you might struggle with other things, but one thing you will not struggle with is food, because you have grocery stores where you can buy affordable food. We have Aldi, for instance, we have Lidl, for instance. But in 2025, trust me, I do not think I can confidently say that anymore, because there is a huge hike in cost of groceries. It is expensive, guys. I mean, weekly shopping used to be £40, £50, but in 2025, my weekly shopping so far has been nothing less than £80. And at this point, I have a lot of questions that are begging for answers, because why am I shopping at the most affordable grocery store in the UK and still having to spend about £80 or £70 weekly, when in the past I used to spend £30? That shows you that there's an inflation going on. And at this point, it's not entirely about money anymore. It's about people having a good quality of life. And is the UK still able to meet up with that? Is the UK still meeting up the standard when it comes to having great quality of life? Sharing, of course, your thoughts in the comment section. When it comes to housing, there's a huge crisis in the housing sector in 2025. People can no longer afford to even pay up their rent. People are struggling to pay up their rent. An average person, for instance, is earning about £2,000 or 1,800 or 1,500, depends. And then the person is having to pay like 1,000 or 1,200 for house rent. I mean, at the end of the month, what do you have left? Barely nothing. According to report, of course, people under 30s are not able to leave their parents' house right now because they cannot afford to live by themselves. They cannot afford to go on the property ladder. Neither can they afford to rent an apartment for themselves. themselves. So they are stuck living in their family house or in overcrowded places or sharing apartment. And trust me, it wasn't like this in the past years. So why exactly are things getting worse? Why are things getting bad? And is this the reason why a lot of people are unhappy in the UK? And at the same time, it can be really difficult to be able to get a house right now. For instance, you might have your money. That's why I said it is sometimes it's not just about money, it's about the quality of your life. You might have your money and you will struggle to get a house. Like you will struggle to rent a house. It is that bad. For instance, your landlord gives you quick notice, to leave the house and you're out there searching for a house. Trust me, it can be really difficult to find an apartment, a suitable apartment for your family. So sometimes people tend to compromise. Let's say, for instance, a 3-bedroom flat is actually what is needed for the number of, for their family size. But because they've been unable to get a 3-bedroom house, they'll have to settle for a 2-bedroom or 1-bedroom house. It is that bad. And in this situation, they have their money, but they are unable to find a house. There is a very big problem in the housing sector that really, really needs to be addressed urgently. And I think that is the reason why Kemi Badenoch is trying to reduce the rate at which immigrants are coming into the country, which of course I am not entirely in support of, but I think that is one of our notion. That is one of the reasons why she's saying we need to cut down on the number of immigrants that are coming to the UK. This particular housing factor is enough reason for one to stay very unhappy. I mean, you look around you, you're not happy, you're not satisfied. Still talking about economic struggles. Guys, are you aware that there is currently a hike in council tax bill, water bill, electricity bill, gas bill? Yes, when it comes to council tax, I'm a bandy. So I was previously paying that 184 or 186, and now I have to pay 196 pounds every month. Not to talk of gas, not to talk of electricity. There's a huge hike in all these fees. It is really that crazy right now. Now, another reason is political dissatisfaction. A lot of people living in the UK are not particularly happy with the government. That's a really sensitive issue. I wouldn't really want to dive into that because I am not political in any way. But if you ask an average person, what they think about the government, the service the government is rendering, a lot of people living in the UK are completely dissatisfied. And of course, this leads to a general sense of disillusionment. People are unhappy and they're still talking about political issues. It is no news. If you're watching me right now and you live in the UK, you will agree with me that one thing that is so inevitable is a constant change in employment law, constant change in immigration law. Oh my goodness, things are always changing. They are always introducing one strict rules or another, one measure or another. People are not relaxed anymore. They're always, thinking of what could happen tomorrow. Emotions are all over the place because things are constantly changing. I mean, previously it was so easy to come to the UK, but right now it is extremely difficult to come now. You can have your money and you will still not be able to find the most suitable route for you to be able to come into the UK. It is painfully difficult, and there is nothing as painful as that feeling of not being settled. You're like, what could happen tomorrow? What could go wrong tomorrow? Things like this tend to, of course, affect the total well-being of, people living in the UK. And I think that's probably one of the reasons why the UK is currently at its unhappiest state. A lot of people are facing very tough times, incredibly tough times. A lot of people are in debt. A lot of people are struggling to meet up with school fees. They work day in, day night. A lot of people are done with their postgraduate, but they are struggling to get a job. There's a low job prospect. And of course, there's a pressure, a very high, intense pressure to be able to succeed. And trust me, this tends to take a huge toll on most people living in the UK. And of course, another reason is, like I mentioned, the triangular life that most people tend to live in the UK. Home, work, home, work, home, work. Like either they are home or they are at work. People barely actually have enough time to go out to meet with people. I mean, compared to Africa, compared to Nigeria, so it might seem as though, things are not going well in Nigeria. People are suffering, people are hungry. But trust me, Nigerians have a way of just being happy. I mean, just leaving your house alone and just saying hello to people, or you just go to somebody's house and you guys will have a chat or something, or you're just tired, you feel like your head is full, you've had enough. You can just enter a restaurant or a bar and just sit there, have a good chat, good conversation with people, have a drink or something. You're walking on the streets and music is playing, there's a bit of noise. Trust me, these things tend to make you happy whether you like it or not. Comparing to here where, like, my mom is currently here, and I can tell you for a fact that I am putting extra effort to plan activities for her because it is not normal for me. It is not something I would usually do. Is it that I am at home? In fact, I am always at home because I work mostly remotely. So I am always at home. If I'm not at home, then I am in this grocery store doing shopping, or I'm taking my kids out for their extracurricular activities. In order for us to have fun times, we have to be very intentional. And that is why some people tend to go for 5 or 6 holidays in a year. Don't blame them. These people, they are just trying to survive. In these climes that are not programmed to keep you sane, they just try to see how they can be happy. And of course, I highly recommend that holiday has a way of just making you happy. A holiday has a huge positive impact on our mental health. Of course, we're going to come to that. For now, let's just dwell on the reasons why the UK is currently at its unhappiest state. Now, declining mental health rates. I know mental health decline is like a global issue. We get to hear of people taking their own lives, causing harm to people. Is a global thing. It is definitely not peculiar to the UK. And of course, because this content is about the UK, so I'm just going to dwell on the UK only. Now, it is no news that mental health is declining. I mean, if you're watching me now, if I ask you, okay, what's your mental health state like? Do you think it's 100%, 70, 30, 40? What exactly is like? Would you say is great? Say every body at some point, especially in this country, has experienced, mental health decline, mental health issues, ranging from anxiety, depression, name it, especially anxiety. A lot of people are anxious. Like I previously mentioned, there's just these constant changes in immigration laws, which tends to affect a lot of people. They don't even know what's going to happen tomorrow. Your employer can decide to just get rid of you, and that's it. You're out there looking for a job that will sponsor you, and most companies cannot even afford to sponsor people anymore because it costs a fortune, to offer COS to people. That sense of community is not there anymore because there's a lot of financial pressure on people. I mean, you invite someone for an outing or a party, and the person brings out his calculator and calculates how much they would make if they choose to work that particular day. Trust me, at the end of the day, they just choose money. Like, they choose to go to work rather than, attend your party. These and many more are the things we tend to see on a regular basis living in the UK. I kind of feel like everyone living in the UK at this point is a survivor. We've survived one storm or another. And I think that's what keeps us going. Knowing fully well that, okay, we've been able to surmount these challenges, then what's going to stop us from surmounting even more challenges in the future? Because whether you like it or not, challenges will always come your way. We can't even run away from it. So mental health, of course, is a key factor that affects the happiness states of people living in the UK. Now, Finland has been ranked #1 happiest country in the world. What exactly is their government doing differently? Why are they ranked the happiest? What exactly is going on? What are they doing differently that we are not doing here in the UK? The UK really needs to address this rising cost in a meaningful way. It needs to be addressed. Things can't keep going higher and higher and higher, and a lot of us are still stuck at our salaries. I know minimum wage is going higher, but at the same time, there is no balance. Balance is key at this point. There is really no balance. People tend to spend way more than they earn. For example, an average immigrant tends to keep renewing visas, high HS fees, school fees. These things are expensive. And trust me, this unhappy state, it's not just down to immigrants alone. Even an average Briton is not finding it easy right now. That's why we need policies to make life bearable for us, to make life affordable, to make things affordable for us. Things really need to be put in place. Measures need to be put in place. I remember winter, a particular family, they were literally not turning on heating till evening. They'll turn it on for a certain number of hours and turn it off. Because, I mean, feeding first, you've not fed yourself and your children, and you're talking about heating. What they do is that they just layer on and all that, but they barely really turn on their heating because people cannot really afford to pay these things. It's so expensive. So, of course, you guys know I always preach community on this channel. I always preach support on this channel as much as you can. Please support people. Support people as much as you can. We need one another. We cannot do without one another. In order to survive, in order to thrive in a society like this, we definitely need one another. And you would think it's just adults that are taking the hit. Absolutely not. Even children are not left out. There are lots of children right now that are dealing with significant speech delay. Children are not talking anymore. You will see a child age 7, age 8, and barely saying a word. It is that bad because that sense of community is lacking. A child will come back from school and stay home. The next minute, they're on the TV, they're on their tablet, till nightfall and they go to bed and the cycle continues. Children barely actually go out to play. Back in the days where we play in a traditional way, whilst growing up, lots of play with the sun, play so much stuff. I don't even think there was anything like speech delay when we're growing up. But right now, it is difficult to find a household that does not have a child that is not talking at 9 or at 7 or at 4 or 5, 6, whatever. This is also taking a huge toll on children. Children are not talking because they are not going out. They are always stuck on their TV. You think children don't want to meet themselves. They want to play. But how, when parents are out there, trying to make ends meet, when do we actually have the time to take our children to the park or to our neighbor's house? Even your neighbor's house that you're going, how are you sure your neighbor is even at home? Because most times, when you have time, to visit your friend does not have time for you to come visit him or her because they are out there hustling, trying to make ends meet. So it's just an endless cycle of chaos and stress and crisis upon crisis. We really need to draw the line. We really need to find a way to put these things to rest. Even when you finally find time to even take your child out or your kids out, you look out there, it's gray. You're looking for the blue sky, you can't find it because the weather is cold. There's something called seasonal depression, SAD, which I think I've addressed it in one of my videos. I wouldn't want to go over it right now, where at a particular season, especially winter, people are depressed because of the weather. They're not happy. I think this happens to almost everybody because when it's winter, I'm sad because knowing that when it's 4 p.m. it's dark. But of course, this is not peculiar to the UK alone at all. So we just need to, try to stay happy as much as we can. Take your vitamins. Please, if you're colored like me, make sure you're on top your vitamin D game. You cannot even think about not taking your vitamin D regularly. You can't think about it, trust me. It helps your mood a great deal. Try as much as you can to meet up with people. Thankfully, the weather is getting better. We are currently in spring and the weather has been so good so far. Try to make out time to take yourself out, take your kids out, go to the park, meet people, say hello to people because we live in a very secluded environment where everyone just lives for themselves, all man for themselves. You see your neighbor, you barely say hi. Say hi, engage them as much as you can. Engage, it helps your mental health. Sometimes you just need to leave that space, that's your space, just you, your spouse, your kids. You need to just go to a totally different space and see what it does to your mental health. And of course, we need to try to take holiday very seriously. Book your holiday, pay instrumentally. It's £300 holiday. It could be 3 days. Go to Montenegro, Albania, these neighboring countries around Europe. Actually, thankfully, UK is a very, very beautiful spot when it comes to holiday because there are a lot of surrounding countries. Take yourself out, travel. It helps you. When I came back from Morocco, oh my goodness, I felt like my head was I felt so relaxed. There was this peace I had. There was a time that I was so angry, I was so bitter. I'm like, I was telling God, even when I'm praying sometimes, or when I'm soliloquizing, I'm like, am I a witch? Like, why am I feeling like this? Like, it took me traveling to Morocco to come back to realize that it was stress that was killing me. It was anxiety. I needed a break. And the moment I got that break, I felt refreshed, relieved, alive. Like, it was such a beautiful feeling. And right now, as I'm talking to you, I think I'm overdue for another holiday. So guys, share, of course, your thoughts in the comment section. Are you unhappy? Are you happy? Do you agree with these statistics? Do you agree with this ranking? Share, of course, in the comment section. And of course, any other thought that you have about this video, I would love to read and hear from you. Thank you so much, guys, for watching. Thank you for sticking around. And of course, I'm going to see you all in my next one. For now, bye, guys.